welcome to Retrotainment. Back here again with my co-host, capital C, capital O. Greg, how are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
Not too bad, not too bad. We're joined this week for his first time on the show by Shane. How are you doing?
All right, lads, how's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. Now you've picked the film that we're doing this week.
Guest rule and all that.
Yeah, guest rule. A film that didn't seem to be well received when it first came out. Very much wasn't liked, but seems to have retroactively been considered a lot better for its time than it was.
Very true. Yeah, it was like when it was first out, no one knew what it was. It was like they just thought it was another like shooter, big guns, big everything like that, and with no story, no plot, and like just kind of switch your brain off. And now, was it like nearly 2 decades later? People are going, "This is a very, very, very clever film."
Over 2, isn't it? 99?
97.
97?
97 in the US and then 98 for us. So we were only 3 months behind them that time. So not that bad.
That's not too bad for Ireland.
Yeah, a lot better for that time. We'll also take a quick look at the ratings and stuff. So from 66 critics, it got 65% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm surprised with that.
Which is actually higher than higher than I thought it would be. And then a 70% from the audience, which I think is probably relatively fair.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was actually surprised that it's 70% when I checked it out. I fully expected it to be low because this is the class B, maybe C rated actors. Like Casper Van Dien went on to do. He's the guy you got into B rated movies or C rated movies that might make you a B rated movie.
Yeah, I think it's been, as I said, retroactively. People have gone back and they've said like the political points that it kind of hit were very good and a little bit ahead of their time.
Oh, it was well ahead of its time.
People now have gone back and they've been like, it's actually a lot better than we gave it credit for back then. It back then it felt like it was trying too hard. It also didn't help that it came out around the time of Men in Black. Men in Black and Independence Day and stuff. So it was being compared to a lot of them, and it wasn't going to live up to those. It was very different to them in a lot of ways as well. But
it had a bigger budget than those two as well, though. This had 100 million budget.
Yeah, and it made 121 million, so just about scraped back.
Well, if you think about it, right, so it made 121 million in the box office worldwide, but it's made over 6 times that on DVD sales.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what they looked at. Like this would have been not a flop exactly, but not a success.
Oh, it was. Sony deemed this as a massive flop on the company.
Yeah, well, that's because they wanted more than 20 million back, I suppose. But
but they only got 50 million in the US, so that didn't help.
Yeah, it's a fine film for what it is. It's just that it gets compared to other films where they're battling with aliens and
it's very
the world's coming to an end. It is entertaining. It's just not Men in Black, I suppose, is really what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is some of the best CGI that I've seen. That's exactly what Greg said. Some of the best CGI I've actually seen from a film of that time.
Yeah.
Like it was so well done. Like there was one little grey area when Rico's on the back of the big fire beetle.
Yeah.
That was cheesy and just looked really bad. But the way that they done the realistic animatronics mixed with the CGI, it was very seamless, and it was funny. I loved it. That's what got me into the film, was not the actual when I started off watching the film. I watched it on Channel 4 at midnight, kind of way. It was one of them films like, oh my god, guns and girls and bugs and it's awesome overall. Like that. I was 12.
Ironic that you mentioned that scene where he jumps off the beetle. So when they done that, they filmed it on a staircase. Right?
So he just jumped down a staircase.
No, he jumped off. Basically, had a crash mat, and someone had left something under the crash mat, and he broke 3 ribs, and he had to stop filming for 6 weeks.
Ooh.
So when you see him spitting up the blood in it, that's actually real.
Well, it worked out for them.
There you go.
It broke 3 ribs.
Yeah, I think again something that didn't help it is the fact that the thing that they're fighting in this is the bugs, and again, Men in Black's first film is a bug. So another comparison that they were going to be put up against Men in Black, and Men in Black is just top tier. Like, it's very hard to be compared to that and not be beaten out by it.
This went down as a real big cult classic, though.
It did after a while, yeah. I love the starting of this where it's like a propaganda ad campaign of join us and stuff, and they have the little kid and he's like, yeah,
Join the civilians.
yeah, and
Or
it's
citizens.
just the citizens, and it's this little kid like,
Yeah, I volunteer, and everyone starts laughing at him.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the bit I never got when I was younger. Was
Yeah.
the whole propaganda, the whole like you have to become, you
Join
have
the
to
army.
fight. Yeah, you have to fight to become a citizen. Just
yeah,
that went over. I think that went over a lot of people's head. Was like, but then the more you watch it, and even like when I can't remember, even when they say about when Neil Patrick Harris character went to the brain, he's scared. It's like it was like, is that propaganda? That all of them going, oh no, we done it, like we made him scared to the brain book and stuff like that. It's like when you rewatch it, you see how that it was actually like we were the enemy, we were the invaders
Yeah.
overall at that, and like it's a lovely spin on it that like, oh no, they attacked us, they destroyed our like they destroyed like piece of us, but it was actually just retaliation for what we're doing overall. And I never got that as a kid, but the older you get, it's like, no, we're actually the invaders, we're the bad guys, but the propaganda spun it so well in that film, and I think that's was the main reason why I think it went over people's heads, was because it knew itself too well. Like it was like there was guns and stuff like that and everything like that, but it was covering that nice little layer of like, this is the way the world is going to get anyway. It's like you're going to have to join the army to become a citizen, and this is the way it's going. Like, and this like it was a real like the satire was great in it overall like that, but like there's like that hint, that little layer of like, there's a truth to this overall, like,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why it wasn't. And we were younger when it came out, so that stuff does go over our head. But this, like, a lot of critics and stuff didn't pick up on it either until years later, and they were like, "Oh, this is very reminiscent of certain wars that have been fought since and things like that." And now they look back on it retroactively, and they're like, "Yes, there was a lot of like political satire and truth in this, that we just kind of overlooked and shit on the film essentially for like doing it. But now, if it was made now, people would be like, "Oh, that was really, really smart and politically well done," and things like that.
yes,
But I love like that we see that, and then we see that the bugs are attacking Earth, and there's a war going on. They're like, "Oh, we're in a war with these," and they send asteroids to attack us.
Yeah, they just send rocks down.
Yeah.
yeah,
But then we see a kind of a battle happening on a different
Dundalk,
planet somewhere. Yeah, we see the battle happening, and we see who we come to learn is Rico getting knocked to the ground and apparently killed.
Yeah.
And then it
it's
just cuts all the way back, and it's like 1 year earlier. So like all this has gone from, we see 1 year earlier and they're just in school. So we see this 1 year jump from, oh, he was in school to he's on a battlefield dying. That's how short of a span this film is going from. Like,
Yeah, it's probably a way that most army people go. Like, if you go into
Yeah.
a war, you could only survive a year. Like, you'll do probably 3 or 4 months on a training base if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then off you go.
Exactly, yeah. And see that again, that's something that they kind of not satired, but they were taking. This is how things are, but people just didn't want to admit it. Like, they just didn't want to say, yeah, you join up when you're 18, and you could be dead by the time you're 19. Like,
Well, Paul Verhoeven done that very well in this.
Yeah.
He obviously had there was a lot of propaganda through it, even in the terms of the outfits and whatnot. But like this movie gets away with it more being a propaganda movie than the likes of Rocky IV did. Like, it was the Rocky IV was the Cold War, and it was all America this and America that, America against Russia. This one is pretty much enticing you to join the army.
yeah, this one it's a little different though. Like in Rocky, it was kind of like, oh, the
Us against them.
Americans versus the Russians,
Russians.
and it was very much, oh, the American wins. Whereas this one was a little bit more, it was a bit more tongue in cheek. It was willing to make light of the fact that this isn't real. Like, this is just
Oh yeah,
a propaganda spin. Like, they kept showing the adverts over and over again
it's hilarious.
Do you want to learn more? Click here. Do you want to learn more? Click
I
here.
love that. Do you
I
want to
thought
know
that
more?
was beautiful. I really, because it felt like you weren't watching the film by the end of it like that. It was so. But my favorite parts were the ads. In that, like I was
They're
like that,
very
that
good.
whole thing,
Yeah.
like they're just so well done. It was just so on point. It really
Yeah.
was. Like even like going like release your third eye and become a psychic first, like that. Because like it's like if you become a citizen, you get supernatural powers.
That's
It's
literally
it's
the one that I was thinking there. Is, do you think you're a psychic? Contact us. Do you want to know more?
Yeah. But we see them back in school, and they're in class, and we see Rico just drawing something on what is essentially an extra sketch. And the teacher, calls on him, and he's like, "Hey, you need to be, thinking about this." And he asks him, "What's the difference between a citizen and a civilian?"
I love that though. That one of the first things you hear Michael Ironside say is, "What's the difference between a citizen and a civilian?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
It's
what I like is that he gives the answer. Like, here's what would be written somewhere, and I've just memorized it, and I've given you the answer back. And Ironside is just like, yeah, that's true. What you've said is correct, but do you understand that? And he's just like, no.
I read that off the leaflet somewhere. It'd be
Yeah.
grand.
But see, that's what I like is that, he's asked this kid, essentially like this 18-year-old kid, and the kid is just like, no, I don't understand. Like, I don't get what the difference is. I just know that they say that this is the difference.
Well,
But we see we see them getting their results on the board. I would hate that. This board where your results come up on a big screen and everyone can see how you did. Yeah, great.
You see that in a few American films that they just post the test results all together on a board. Like, obviously not like that where you put in your number and it's displayed on a big LCD screen. But
but we see that Carmen gets, what was it, 93, 97% in her maths, and he gets 35. So you can kind of see, like, the smart people go off and they do a specific type of job. She wants to be a pilot, and he's just 35. So he's just going to be a jarhead.
Yeah, he's fodder basically.
You're basically just going to be fodder. And we see Carl has some sort of psychic abilities, and he keeps trying to test them, but he's not any good at it.
I don't think he was ever going to be fodder because he didn't intentionally go to sign up. He hadn't thought about it up until she meets your man.
No, he had thought about it before, because you hear Carl say it to him. He's like, "Have you said it to her yet?" And he's like, No. So I think he does have plans to sign up, but his parents clearly, as you see later on, his parents clearly don't want him to.
Also, getting 35% in the maths test, you're definitely not getting into Harvard.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we see, they have I suppose it's meant to be American football, but they've tried to make it futuristic, where
Oh, I love that.
He jumps over this lad's head and stuff, and you're like, yeah, it's not really any more futuristic. It's just some guy jumping over somebody. Like,
yeah, I've seen Todd Gurley do that. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not like, it's still just normal American football, but they're trying to make it seem like it was some sort of futuristic style of it.
They just put some silver on the ball basically like that, and that's futuristic.
Yeah.
It looks like they've shortened the teams down as well. It looks like you're playing offense, defense. It's like one game of football theoretically. Yeah. Because like he gets tackled, he scores, and then he gets ripped out of it for the next tackle.
Yeah, this is where we kind of see his real interaction with Dizzy as well. Like, she's on the team, so it's it's an intergender team. Like, it's not the men's football team and the women's football team. It's just one team.
His is a beast.
She is a beast, yeah. But you see that her, like, she's kind of the leader. Like, she's telling him, like, this is the play we're going to run.
Yeah.
So she's kind of the leader. But he has no interest in her at all. Like,
yeah.
Kind of just ignores her.
Why would you take Diz when Denise Richards is there,
I know, yeah, but like he's not even listening to her in terms of like what play to be doing, because he's too focused.
He was watching Carmen, wasn't he?
He was too focused on the fact that Xander had been talking to Carmen.
Yeah.
I get the belt across the back of the head for it, like that. Just give it a ball, Diz. Yeah, They
end up winning that game anyway, and it's all well and good. And he goes home and tells the parents, like, no, like, I'm going to sign up. And he signs up for infantry. She gets in as a pilot, and we see Carl gets in as they call it like games and rec, which is intelligence. Like, it's not games and rec at all. It's like this is
There's
how we're gonna
zero
figure it.
zero games.
Yeah, like this is are going to be like the battle plans and stuff. So we kind of see like his mate Carl has gone into one thing, she's gone into another, and then he's gone into just Jarhead. You just go in and we'll send you out on the front line, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And we see him. This is where we meet Ace, and Ace
Love
is like,
Ace.
I
I'm
love Ace. Yeah.
I'm gonna be the squad captain, and they're all like, he kind of Ace cuts in line, and he's just like, no, go to the back of the line, and Ace is like, I like you.
I don't know whether any of you have seen Street Fighter, but lads, he is the best placed person to play Lieutenant Guile.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He
is.
Yeah. He really should have been.
Be.
He's a bit skinny. He need to put on some mass for Guile.
Yeah, just a bit of muscle. That wouldn't have been too bad. Perfect hair and everything.
Yeah. Everything else is perfect, but he needs to put on some.
Everything I've seen him in, I'm looking at him going, you should have been Guile.
Yeah, he needs some mass to be Guile. But we see them. Dizzy shows up to join the unit that they're in, which has Zim as their drill instructor.
Clancy Brown is an absolute legend. He gets himself into so many good films. You know what I mean? He's just brilliant in everything. And he's always a serious guy in it too, because obviously you can't really play much other than that.
Yeah. But like I just love the whole thing that like she comes in and he just completely, he doesn't even ignore her. He tells her like, listen, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
I came out here to be on my own, not to have you with me.
You piggybacked off me.
Yeah. But then he's sending, what are essentially letters to Carmen, but they send them on discs, so it's just mail, and he sends it to her, and he's like, yeah, I'm really happy here, and looking forward to getting trained in more and more and more, and
become
then
a squad leader or whatever.
Yeah, that's his goal, is to become the squad leader, like and we see they're out doing different training sessions, and Ace questions Zim like, why would I need to learn to throw a knife? And Zim just, put your hand up on that board and whack.
Yeah. Can't push the button if you don't have a hand.
Yeah, exactly. It's
such
so
a great again, and like a scene that's like critically underrated for just how like on the ball it was. That like he questions, bang, knife, like in the hand, medic. You get that's like just straight away like that, and just taking the hand out, like it just such an easy, just like that's how violent.
Yeah,
Zim
and
actually is, like,
It's I also think it's great because it shows that Zim grew up in a different time, whereas this guy's like, I can just press the button and it'll just kill them, and he's like, yeah, but what if you don't have the button?
Yeah.
Like he's like, I need to train yous to be able to survive. If you don't have all these newfangled weapons, like you need to be able to survive in a tough situation. Like,
I'm not sure how they're going to survive against those bugs with a knife, to be honest.
Yeah, they wouldn't, but it's not just about the actual weaponry. It's about thinking about how things would be. Like, he's like, why would I need a knife? And it's like, well, you might need it for something.
You'll see that comes into it very subtly later on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, it is a lesson that he learns. But we see Carmen gets paired up with to be co-pilot, and like she's the best flyer in the group, but she takes a lot of risks. Like, she flies very tight to crashing into stuff, but she gets promoted up to fly on the big main plane with co-pilot of Xander.
Of course she does.
Yeah, and
snaky prick can't leave her alone.
But we see her next message gets sent onto Rico, and she says, this is over. Like, I don't, I'm just gonna focus on my career, which completely kind of devastates him, but
it was always going to happen.
he's been made squad leader, so he's kind of, he had been on a high, and then this just completely ripped him down.
Yeah.
And we see, all the lads giving him shit when she comes up on the screen, like, oh, she's too good for you. Like, and they're all giving him, she's too good. And then, they're all in this one little room. They hear that she breaks up with him, and they're all like, oh man, like, forget about her. Like, she's nothing anyway. And it just shows the camaraderie of the lads that were in the infantry, where they'll all give each other shit the whole time until somebody, like, they realize that somebody's like hurting, or things aren't going well for them. Then they they reel it back in and they're like, no, come on, man, like just.
Yeah, Diz gives him that look that she gave him at the dance as well.
I think it's
yeah.
it's kind of a different one here. I think like at the dance, her look is kind of like lustful. In this one, it's like a sadness. Like she's actually
I didn't
sad
get
to
that.
see him get hurt. Like
I found him the look for her more as if going, well, now I have a chance.
there was an element of that, but I think like for me, I just kind of thought there was a bit of a, she didn't like to see that he was hurt either.
Yeah, well, maybe, but to me, I always took it as her going, now I have my chance.
I think you see that look a bit from her, a bit more further on into it.
Oh yeah,
After this,
you see it growing much
Yeah.
more throughout the movie.
But they, he gets promoted up to be the squad leader, and they do a live rounds, test, like training ground with live rounds, and big farmer guy is like, there's something wrong with my helmet, and he's like, all right, take it off and I'll fix it. And then like this other one who we learned had political aspirations, she was going to get into the political game. She gets shot in the side and drops down. And
what can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah. She blows the head off the big farmer guy, and we see him, he has to we see him get brought in by Zim into the like the corporal's office, and he's like, do we need to get rid of him? And Zim is like, no, like we've already lost 2 people, like one died and she had to leave,
Well, Dean Norris, the guy who plays Hank in Breaking Bad, who's the corporal here, he actually done this part for free because it was his favorite book.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, that's how much he wanted to be in this. That's why he's only in it for about
He's
2
in it
minutes.
He's in it for like 2 or 3 scenes, but they're all very short scenes. Yeah.
Apparently he done it for free because he just wanted to be in the movie.
Wow. Fair play.
What a
committed to the cause.
Yeah, but we see, they make the decision that he'll take an administrative punishment and lose the post of squad leader.
I love Clancy Brown here when he's looking at him and he's like, I wish to. Oh yeah, he goes to leave, doesn't he? He's on his way out.
He goes to leave after this, but he gets his administrative punishment of the 10 lashes on the back, which just look so sore.
Yeah, where Clancy Brown's like, is this your signature? Yeah, doesn't look like it. He just rips it up.
Yeah, that's that comes after he's taken the 10 lashes, and everyone's like, okay, you've taken your 10 lashes, you can continue on. Like you're no longer squad leader.
It does, yeah.
But you're gonna continue being, what you were here. Now, one thing that helped him become squad leader was when Dizzy helped him in a different training simulation, and she was like, run the same play, the 6-hole play from when they were doing the American football game earlier in it. So you can kind of see that she does have the ability to lead as well.
I like as a quarterback, as an American football quarterback, you'd have to have an ability to lead your players anyway. But like, obviously it's different in thing. But
but like you can see that she has that ability to to read the situation and be like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
So you're kind of thinking like, well, she's definitely going to get promoted up eventually because she clearly understands battle plans and battle tactics. But he, he's kind of ready to, like, we see him take his lashes and you think, right, that's it, he's sorted now. And then it cuts back to Carmen on the ship and they see the asteroid just
zoom by,
come out of nowhere, and it knocks out their communications tower. Which I think is it's such a smart bit because it knocks out the communications tower, which means they can't relay the information to anyone, which is why no one can do anything about this asteroid that then lands and blows up their
It didn't I don't know if they actually fully meant for it to hit the tower, because you see them try to evade it.
No, the arachnids don't mean to, but I think it was very smart that the filmmakers were like, get that, make sure that we knock out
the tower,
the communication tower, so that they can't report back like, listen, there's a meteorite coming, clear everyone out. They just don't, and it hits where their hometown, as Rico's on the phone to his parents saying like, I want to come home, I'm done here.
Is that Buenos Aires, is it?
Buenos Aires, yeah.
Now, Buenos Aires is in Argentina, isn't it? I think. I'm nearly sure. I'm pretty sure it's the capital of Argentina, but like
I wouldn't be too worried.
He's talking about going to Harvard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about where things are and aren't in this film. It seems to be a bit all over the spot on that. But it comes down and it crashes into their hometown.
Yeah.
And that's when he's on his way home.
He's walking out, wash out, and it's all the lads are running.
All the lads are running. They're like, combat, like we're shipping out now. So that's when he goes in to Zim and he's like, I want to reconsider. And he's like, you've signed it. And Zim is like, is this your signature? He's like, yes. And he's like, doesn't look like it to me. And just rips it up.
Clancy Brown's I love Clancy Brown and nearly everything.
What I love here is that Zim wants to go out as well. Like he says it to the corporal. He's like, I want to go out. And he's like, the only way you're going out there is if you get yourself demoted down to private, because otherwise you're needed on this base. And he's just like, do you want to be demoted down? And he's like, no, because he knows he's too valuable to get demoted down. He's like, I need to train up the new recruits.
Yeah.
So we see Rico and everyone get sent off they're getting ready to go off to battle.
They're up in the big ship.
They're up in the big ship, and this is when Rico and Xander have their little scuffle.
To be fair, your man's a dickhead.
He is a dickhead, but he also he gets the better of Rico way too easily here, I think.
Yeah. Rico hits the first punch and then just gets slapped around.
Yeah, now it looks like Rico's about to gain control again as it get broken up, but I'm just like, surely the guy who's a pilot shouldn't be beating the guy who's, trained in combat all day. Like,
well, like to me, what I like here is in this scene, like obviously he's talking to her and she's like, "Are you not happy to see me?" He's like, "Should I be?" And then he comes along and he's like, "Oh, I get what's happening now."
Yeah.
And then they have a little back and forward and he's like, rank doesn't count here because obviously pilot's probably more.
Yeah, well, he's a higher rank, like, yeah.
And he's like, rank doesn't count, so he just absolutely levels him one.
Yeah. But they get they get in the little scrap, and then Ace, Dizzy, Rico, and a couple of the other people from the unit are like, we should get a tattoo. So they go off and get their death from above tattoos, which are they're quality looking like.
I don't like that laser tattoo. I'd prefer to sit in the chair, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the tattoo looks great though, and I like that as his is getting done, like you can see the pain he's in, and then they just pour a lot of whiskey on it. Yeah, just throw a lot of whiskey on that there.
Yeah, Ace is brilliant. Some of the things he does in this is so subtle but so funny.
Yeah,
he keeps it ticking over. Like
you can kind of see that he's the
arrogant.
Not just arrogant, but like it's not even just that he's arrogant. It's that like he's kind of stupid. Like he doesn't think about things. It's just like, I'll just do it, and whatever the consequences are, they are. Which is what the implication is of what most jarheads are.
Yeah. So shoot first.
Yeah, like we'll just do it and we'll see what happens, sort of thing.
But I think that's done by design for this movie as well.
Oh no, it is like that. That's the whole point of this, is that they make a point of all the idiots go into infantry, and then everyone else who has something else to offer. So like you're a pilot if you're smart, if you have like the psychic ability, you go off to do what Carl did, and there's other ones, but like basically it was just like people who want to sign up but have nothing special to offer, put them in infantry, and if they die, sure, who cares? Yeah, it just doesn't matter. That's the whole idea of what they want to get across here. But they get sent down onto the planet, and that's when we catch up to what we saw at the start of the film of they start to fight with the bugs, and they get overrun, and we do get an inclination that there is an intelligence to the bugs now, because before this we'd been told they've got no intelligence, they just attack. So you just go down and you attack them back, and that's it. They don't plan, they don't do anything. But then we see the kind of like blue laser ball things coming up into the air, and they were told these are light. Yeah, they're light and they're random, so you don't need to worry about them. And then it takes them like half of the fleet, and they're like, okay, whoever did this made a big fucking mistake.
And I love this though, because the captain of the ship that Ibanez is on knows now. They're like, there's something wrong.
Yeah. But they go down and they kill a few of them, and it looks like it's going okay. And then they just get overrun. Like
Really wasn't it? It's just like a second wave of an army appears.
yeah. This is when we as I said, we catch up to what we saw at the start, which is the cameraman going down and Rico dropping with the thing stuck in his leg, and
that's so bad looking.
yeah, but then
like,
presumably dead, like because we see something close in on him.
Yeah, I love that though. But like when normally when you see like an egg injury like that in CGI movies, it doesn't look half bad. This looks rotten. There's bits of meat hanging out of it and everything.
Yeah,
Again, it was
something they
done
did very
so
well. Yeah, they do
Oh.
very well with this sort of stuff. But then we see Carmen on the plane, and she looks up, like who died, and they see she sees Rico's name there is listed as dead.
Yeah.
But then we see him like floating in this tank as something is repairing his leg. What I think is
Star Wars back to tank, like
Yeah. What I thought was really smart is in this was that they didn't show him in the tank. They showed like a blue liquid or like a greenish kind of glowing liquid, and then something repairing the wound on his leg.
Yeah.
But the last scene we'd seen him in looked like one of the bugs had devoured him.
Yeah, it's brilliantly done.
And I thought it looks like the first time you see it, you're like, oh, this is why the bugs are intelligent now, because they're capturing the humans and they're learning from them and they're healing, like, because it looks like a bug healing up his leg. Like, it doesn't look like someone stitching it. It looks like it's some sort of bug healing his leg.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little nanobot kind of thing.
Yeah, but then it does zoom out and we see Ace and Dizzy. Bang,
You're
bang, bang.
dead.
Hey, wake
You're
up.
dead. Yeah.
You're dead.
I love that. Yeah.
And there's the KIA.
Yeah, it's so good. And then they're like, right, we're off. You heal up in there. We're gone.
I love it though. They're like 3 days. That's all you've got left.
Yeah.
And then she comes back and kisses the glass.
Yeah. And then they join up with a new squad.
The Rough House.
Roughnecks.
The Roughnecks. What I like here is that they
Best
go
name.
in and they're like, oh, I heard the sergeant's a bit of a ball buster in here, and your one just clocks Ace out of it.
Ace gets an awful time here. Like,
and they're all like, no, he saved my life and mine. And then they're all like, everyone in the thing is like, yeah, he saved my life, and they're like, and he saved yours to Rico.
You just
saved your ass. Yeah.
You just knew at this stage who it was, really.
Yeah,
well, it was only ever going to be 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, it was either going to be Zim or it was going to be
the
old teacher. Like, and you were like, ooh. I was expecting it to be Zim, to be honest.
Do you know who I actually thought it was the very first time I remember watching it, when I actually understood it? I thought it was the guy that he signed up with.
The security guard, yeah, I
Because
thought
he
that
has
as
a
well.
metal hand.
When I saw the metal hand, I thought that as well, yeah.
And then you see him walking with 2 legs, and you're like, oh, right, no, yeah.
No, that guy had no legs. It's definitely not him.
Yeah. Michael Ironside was good, though.
Yeah. Like, what's his name in it? It's like Razbek or something.
John Rosbeck.
Yeah.
Razbek, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the speech he gives them. He's just like, you join up with me, you fight until you die, and that's it.
I've only got 2 rules. You fight, never, always fight, never give up.
Yeah.
I only have 1 rule. Everybody fights, nobody quits.
Everybody fights, nobody quits.
If you don't do your job, I'll kill you myself.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Roughnecks. It was so on point. Like, this is not your normal everyday kind of like platoon. This one's hardened. This one's been killing stuff, and this is like, we take no shit. We give no shit. You don't do your job, you're being left to the books.
Yeah.
I love how they asked him though. They're like, you knew him as back in Buenos Aires. What was he? He was a teacher.
Yeah, he was a teacher. But I love that they go down to this planet, and it's like, right, we're going down, and there's meant to be a small infestation here. That's what they've been told. There's a small infestation. We're going to kill off whatever's left there, and then we'll move on to the next planet. So they go down, and they're like, first of all, like a load of bombers are going to drive over them, and we'll just clear up whatever's left. So they kill most of them, and then they're like, right, is there another one here? Oh yeah, there's one, and it's Dizzy, Rico, and one of the guys that was already in that squad, and they kill one, and your man just like keeps shooting it, and they're like, that thing is dead, like you could stop shooting it, and he's just keep shooting it. Like, they're like, all right, mate, calm down.
He's hilarious though. He's pretty good in this. Watkins,
Sugar Watkins, yeah.
He just, I think he must have unloaded about 15 clips into this.
Yeah, and then as they're about to walk off, he turns around and puts 2 more bullets into it, and you're just like, that thing was well dead, chap. You could stop.
And that green spray then all over him. But I loved what they kept it for the whole thing as well.
Yeah, the three of them are covered in the green spray, and then they're like, oh, there's actually there's a hole up here, so we need to blow this up. So they fire one of the nukes. Well, not nukes, but like the rocket things down into it.
I love when they go up and you see the bugs starting to come out, and then they fire the nuke, and the nuke's going around in circles as it probably would. And you see the bugs turn around and look at it and be like,
what the hell are they doing?
That's where you can see that they're the infantry bugs for them.
Yeah, like they have no thought process in them. Like they just do as they're told.
Yeah,
but they we see the big explosion come up, and then they make their way back to where the rest of the lads are, and they're killing off a few of them. And that's when we see the big kind of bug thing come out of the ground, and they're all shooting at it, and they just it's just not taking any damage.
Cockroaches tend to not.
Yeah, until he decides, I'll just jump on its back here, and I'll just drill a load of shots into it, and eventually get through its like the protective shell on the back, and then I'll just drop a grenade in there.
I love that though. He's hanging on with one hand. He has the grenade, and he's just like, yeah.
But I like that he kills that, and it's like he gets covered in the kind of orange stuff. So two of them are now covered in green, and then he's now covered in like green and orange. And the teacher is like, I really like that. You're promoted until I find someone better, or you die, or until you die, or I find someone better. It's just such a good line, like this isn't a promotion. Like you're not guaranteed to stay there. Someone better comes along, you slip up, you're gone.
But that's the same we said earlier on, where I was saying he jumped off the thing and broke 3 ribs.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. Like it's well done for standing on a staircase.
Yeah.
It does look very good, to be fair.
I love that shot of him, like, he's in the foreground and then just melting behind him is a big cockroach. And he just kind of turns, and it's a real Hollywood kind of, like, macho man kind of look like that. It's brilliant. And it's the only kind of scene of the whole movie that you get that, like, it's a real, like, Hollywood kind of, like I'm, like, Arnie here kind of scene. Because all the rest of them aren't like that, but it's a real, like, it'd be a shot where you'd think you see, like, the American flag kind of, like, slowly kind of fed into existence.
That's what they should have done and had it as an ad. Do you want to kill bugs like this? Do you want to know more?
But when he does kill this is when he gets the promotion, and then I
think that's probably because it's probably the first time someone's killed one of those big bugs.
They don't say it is, but it's he definitely kills it single-handedly while the rest of them were kind of panicking. So he gets the promotion, and then the sergeant is like, all right, lads, you did a good job, so here's a lot of beer, and here's a lot of like football and stuff. And I like that everyone goes for like the footballs and stuff except Ace, who goes for the little violin thing, which is a nice added like thing to him, isn't it?
Because you see it earlier on when Rico's making the video for
that he's playing
Ibanez, he's playing it, But this is a real nice violin. It's like an luminous green see-through.
Awesome, it's so good. But they start to dance, and Dizzy tries to dance with him again, and he's like, "Don't make me pull rank. Like I don't dance anymore."
Yeah.
And you can tell that he's still hurting over the fact that he feels that that Carmen broke up with him not because of her career, but because of Xander. Like,
which is I believe to be true.
I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. Like she was always, like, you could see from the start, she was very career oriented. So it wasn't surprising that she did.
She was infatuated with him from the start. Like,
she also, she was infatuated with him as well.
Like even at the dance when Rico's looking for her, he finds her with him.
Yeah.
She wanted to be more like him because, like, Xander was what she wants to be. So she imitates him and kind of goes along with him. She'll get to be where she was. I think that was more than like an actual like emotional kind of
attraction
with him. Like, exactly. Yeah. I think it was more like, well, he's doing this and this and this. I want to do the same thing, so I'm going to follow his path. Yeah, I think it was more of a kind of career relationship than it would be anything to do with emotions or anything.
I think for her it was. I think for Xander,
liked her. Yeah,
Xander was a physical attraction. For her, it was I want to get to where you are.
I don't blame him.
Nobody does. But
Charlie Sheen was some man, lads.
But we do see like that the teacher comes over and he's like, "You asked me a question before, and I'm going to give you the answer now. Don't let something good slip by." Because he sees that Rico is just completely having.
Stonewalled.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm having nothing to do with Dizzy, and the teacher is just like,
Right.
you're kind of being a bit of an idiot here. Like she clearly.
Get on with it.
But he's like, she's clearly like, he's obviously noticed it back when they were in school and stuff as well, and he's like, you were an idiot to like completely ignore her.
It's like they could be dead tomorrow. That's
yeah,
the way
exactly.
He thinks about it. Like he's something like they're on a bug planet after being attacked by a cockroach
That spits acid.
That spits fire. Why would you pass up having a dance with a girl that's like head over heels for you?
Yeah.
You could be killed tomorrow. So enjoy yourself as much as you can while you can.
Yeah. What I like here is that they go off and then like they get into presumably his tent, possibly, I don't know. There's a tent. They get into a tent, and then the sergeant comes in. And he's like, "Rico, we gotta go. There's been a call from the SIG," and he's like, "Who's in there with you?" And her head kind of like sneaks up, and he's like, "All right, you got 20 minutes."
We're moving out in 10 minutes. Hey, who's in there with you? It's me. It's Diz. You got 20 minutes.
You got 20 minutes.
I love those. She turned around. I was like, 20 minutes. Yeah, we could do it. You see them stripping.
Yeah.
Just a little look of 20 minutes. Like, yeah. And then
But I like that. He says that they've received a call from an outpost where it's like, we've received a call and they're in trouble. We need to get there.
Yeah.
And then when they get there, it's just slaughter. Like.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. It's such an easy little touch to put in it. That the outpost is in trouble. But then when they get to the outpost and they're obviously looking around, you can see that there's something not quite right. But you think, all right, they were in trouble, they just got destroyed, and that's that.
Yeah. But I like the fact that, they split up because, they want to cover as much ground as possible. So they go off one way and they're like, Sergeant, I need you over here. And the sergeant looks and he's like, oh, they were attacked while they were having food. And then Dizzy comes in and she's like, I think you need to see this. And they go over and it's your man at the communications thing. And he has no brain.
Even just before that, when they walk in where they're having their dinner, they came up. You can see they came up through the ground.
Yeah,
the few little of the mini bugs were there.
Yeah,
what the hell were they doing here? Like
Yeah.
Rico just looks at it and he's like,
yeah, why are these like transport bugs here? What's this about?
Yeah.
But like then we see your man with no brain, and they're like, oh, so you're kind of thinking now, okay, so is this how they've started formulating plans? Is that they're they're learning the plans by taking the brain, and then they're working against that.
I love that one of them just turned around and was like, there was a bug in his brain. And they're like, no, they took his brain because Michael Ironside puts his fingers into the hole.
Yeah. They sucked his brains out.
Yeah. But then we hear something rattling around, and out comes this general from this like freezer thing.
He's desperate looking, isn't he?
Yeah. But the one thing I suppose you would be. I suppose like you've got there and the whole place has been slaughtered. Like.
But I wouldn't mind when he starts rambling on. He's like, I had to protect the plans and thing. It didn't really make sense when you first watch this.
Yeah.
Until he explains himself.
Yeah, but he says that they can get into your brain, and that they can make you do things. Like we didn't send out that distress call.
Yeah,
they did.
Which then tells you there's something fucking.
Yeah, there's something up. So as that's happening, they're trying to get in contact with the fleets above to say like, listen, there's something dodgy going on here. But as that's happening, we see that this planet isn't just a slight infestation; it's completely overrun.
Yeah, This is
now
bad when they look out.
Yeah, I love this. It's a great scene of them, like up on the things, and they're just like shooting the stuff down, and there's now flying bugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Take your head off.
Take it clean off. Yeah.
Now, one thing I just did kind of jump over there was we did see the flying bug earlier, and it took one member of the thing.
It took the scout. Yeah.
And then
Michael Ironside shoots him.
He shoots him dead in the chest. And he's like, I'd expect any of you to do the same for me, like rather than suffer through being attacked.
Well, like I'd say that's a thing though in the army. Like if you were captured and you know you were going to be killed. Obviously not by bugs and right or whatever, but
Yeah.
you'd expect someone to put you down.
Yeah, I think it's if you're in torture
Yeah.
rather than just captured. If you were captured, you'd probably be
Yeah,
left. But
well,
like if
yeah.
they're being tortured, it's like if you can end that for them.
Put them down.
Yeah. But we see the attack, like, and the bugs are coming in, they're cutting people's heads off. The other, like the normal fighter bugs are like walking towards the wall and they're just getting shot down. And then one of the big bugs comes up to the ground, and this is when
it goes.
Sergeant sadly gets his legs chomped off.
Man's already missing an arm. They've taken his hand and now they take his legs.
Yeah, but it makes him seem very similar to the guy that he registered with as well, which is something I thought was a nice little throwback to. Now he's lost the arm and the 2 legs, but instead of being like, well, I'll just be someone they can register with, he just says, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
So
bang.
Rico puts him out of his misery, and then we see the support unit come down to help them escape. But as they do, the big bug comes up, and Dizzy kills the big bug this time by throwing a grenade into its mouth, like
straight into it. Bang.
Perfect quarterback throw.
Yeah, and she celebrates, which if you ever watch a film, that's exactly when it goes wrong for you. Everything seems to be going right for her. She's killed the big bug. She had just gotten promoted to squad leader.
Yeah, you can see it happening. Like as soon as she's celebrating, you're like, yeah.
She'd finally got with the person that she'd been, chasing since she was in school. Everything seemed to be going right for her, and then she gets killed.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah, but what I like is that they get into as they're getting into this like transport unit, you see Xander come out, so you know it's Xander and Carmen. Like it's the 2 of them.
You know it's going to be them anyway, because when they're on the comms, they're like, you want to land in the outpost. You need a crazy pilot for that.
Yeah.
And they've referred to her a few times as
the craziest pilot. Yeah, but they get taken up into the air, and Dizzy dies while they're getting transported back.
Sad times. That's a harsh death, but it's a very good one because she plays it off well. She's like, I at least I got to be with you, and then she's like, don't let me go, and then she just.
But see, I think it's very good because it shows that the big problems with war that
people die.
People do die. Like she's quite a main character. Well, not anymore because somebody's going to die. Like, but they get brought back, and they give her the funeral where she gets shot out into space in her.
Yeah, I always when I was watching this yesterday, I was looking at it and I was like, I always thought that set on fire for some reason. Don't ask me why.
It's from some other stuff. There is other films where stuff like that does happen and they do get set on fire.
It was the glint. It was the glint of the sun off. It made it look like it's like, but it was like just the way it went in. Then suddenly it's like it kind of hit the sun and it kind of glowed.
Yeah. There's I've obviously seen a movie where it gets pushed out into space like that and it catches fire.
It has happened in other films since then, yeah. But we see here then that Carl shows back up.
I love how he's wearing a Nazi uniform.
It's
the
so
Third
Nazi.
Reich uniform.
Yeah, it's so
Nazi. It is, yeah.
It's M. Bison. It's so Nazi.
This is just Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter all over.
But that's the whole point, is that they're saying, like, okay, we think we're the good guys because we're in this battle with them. And we've heard that the reason that the Arachnids did attack them is that the Arachnids were like, we don't like you having outposts on our home planet.
Yeah.
Because you keep capturing us and essentially torturing us.
Pretty much, because you see Carl doing it in one of them.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the thing. If you shoot off a limb, it's still dangerous. But if you shoot the spinal cord.
Yeah, exactly. See, you can see why, but what I like is that Carl comes in and he's, the 3 of like Carmen, Carl, and Rico are sitting there, and like they were really close friends, and now they've all gone off in their separate directions, and
they've made their pact to always stay friends as well.
Yeah, but they've also climbed the ranks in whichever section they went into.
Yeah.
So Carl is now like he's higher than all of them, but he says to them like, "Oh yeah, we knew. Like we're glad. I'm so glad that you got out. I knew it was a dangerous mission when I sent you in." And Carmen is like, "Wait, you knew that
was his thing."
No, well, he did. He was just like, I knew you were the best unit to do it. And Carmen was like, wait, you knew that this was a trap? And he was like, yes, but we needed to prove that it was a trap so that we could do the things that we're going to do now,
He
which
just
is
leaves.
Go
and
back to P. Yeah.
yeah, well, Rico says, that's what infantry are for, which just shows where his mind is at now. He's just like, I am a soldier, and
Yeah,
you can
but
keep sending me into missions like that, and I will keep accomplishing them.
he
And
doesn't care at this point now.
it's less that he doesn't care. I think it's that he's become ingrained in that idea of, I'll
Well,
fight till I die.
by not caring, I mean, like he obviously cares if he lives or dies, but like he doesn't have Ibanez anymore. Dizzy's now gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's more just that he's become very like his like the captain or like the sergeant before him, where it's like, you fight till you die and that's the end of it. And that's now what he's become, because we then see him give the exact same speech to the new recruits.
I love
Yeah.
that. Where did we get all these kids? We're feeling old, Ace.
Yeah, we're the old guys now, Ace. But they go back down onto the planet, and as they're making their way down to the planet, we see that the ships get shot down again, and this time the one that Carmen and Xander are on gets shot down, and they get into a little escape pod.
I love when they're trying to escape here, and one gets trapped under the door.
Yeah.
Like she could easily backpedal.
Yeah, but those doors are pretty heavy. I think she was a gunner.
No, but like before it comes down, because it doesn't come down at great speed.
Yeah, I suppose. Well,
she could have Indiana Jones it.
Possibly, but it was also like, the whole thing was shaking around and being shot at. It probably wasn't as easy as it looked.
I love how she's like, just go.
Yeah, but they crash land, and she's on the like communications, and Rico hears, and he's like, yeah, we'll come get you. And then she's like, we're in a very hostile situation here. And then he hears kind of gunshots, and then the communication cuts out.
Yeah.
And I like that, they're like, come on, the commander, he said that Rico said we're going to go get them. And then Rico's like, no.
Yeah. Watkins is just like, yeah, we're going.
Yeah, but Rico's like, no, you know as well as I do, she's dead. Like,
yeah, he has some sense to it.
Yeah. So they continue on with the mission that they'd been sent on, which was to locate this, like whatever bug was being able to use, to make these plans for them. But as they land and they're in the tunnels, he just gets this thing where he's like, I need to go this way. She's alive. And Ace is like, even if she is, that you're disobeying a direct order. If you bring everyone down there, they'll kill you for that. And he's like, right, everyone else keep going that way. I need two volunteers with me. And it was always going to be Ace and
Watkins,
wasn't it? So Ace and Watkins go down.
They're the buys now.
Yeah, so Ace and Watkins go down with him, and he says he just knows that Carmen is still alive. Now Xander has died in the meantime and had his brain sucked out.
That like where they said you hear the things like you see Carmen get stabbed in the back of the shoulder.
Yeah.
And Denise Richards' finest acting here. She gets stabbed in the back of the shoulder the whole way through, and it doesn't even look like a face there.
No. But we do see Xander gets his brain sucked out, but he hands her a knife just before. Before that happens, he hands her the knife, which I like because it shows why she has the knife, which she needs later.
It's really good. It's a really good callback overall. Yeah.
Because it originally just looks like he's going to take her hand.
Yeah.
And then you see her try and slide it under her chest.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as I said earlier, you'll see it later on in the movie when you have a knife, what you can do with it.
Yeah. So then, the brain bug goes to try and take her brain as well. And
she slits the proboscis.
she cuts off whatever it is, this like feeder tube. And it looks like she's about to be killed, but that's when the boys all show up with the detonator.
I love this.
Like, you know what this is?
Yeah.
You know what this is because it's the brain bug, and they're like, you know what this is?
Boom.
You better all back up. So like they all kind of start backing up, and she comes towards them, and they're like, okay,
run.
Now we need to get out of here. So they start backing off and just firing shots, but the brain bug like leaves.
Yeah.
So once it leaves, the little normal attacker bugs are just like, yeah, we're willing to die. Let's just go for it. Like,
yeah.
Fuck it.
So they go in, but they cut the chest of Watkins here, and then he takes this grenade nuke thing, and he's like, everybody run, I'll kill them, and he dies shooting at them until he runs out of bullets, and then just
I love this though, because they're shooting, like, even when they were in the base, you see them shooting and the piles of bodies are just opening up. But it's like I've seen a lot of films lately do it in the likes of zombie movies. I've seen it in World War Z, they do it as well, with the bodies just building up. But in there, where he's lying there, he's just shooting everything. They're shooting everything. Just a wall of dead bodies.
Yeah.
And he's holding the nuke with his trigger finger.
Yeah. Well, that's like, they don't care about that other people, like that the other bugs are dead. They're just climbing over them. So it makes sense that, they would just eventually start piling up, sort of thing. But he blows them all up, and just as the three, Ace, Rico, and Carmen, are like kind of in a bit of mourning for the fact that Watkins has died, they hear a load of cheering from outside, and they run out and they're like, "Whoa, what's all this cheering about?
We got the brain.
We got the brain. We got the brain." And then Carl comes over and he's like, "They'll always remember the name of the private who got that brain."
It wasn't some fancy new technology. It wasn't some fancy ship. It was a private name, Zim.
Yeah, and then we see him turn around, and I love it because he just turns around and you see Rico be like, "Oh, I'm so glad." Like, you can see Rico's glad it was him, but then Rico is now a higher rank than him, so he has to salute Rico. Oh, it's just so good.
Actually, we missed it. When he was when they were saying they were taking to the new recruits, and he gives the same speech, and you see Watkins when he's like, "Welcome to the Roughnecks." Rico's Roughnecks.
Yeah. But they have this brain thing captured, and this is when Rico says, Rico comes to Carl and he's like, "You're the one who told me that Carmen was still alive," and Carl is just like, "That's classified information."
Yeah, I love that bit.
Because we seen earlier that Carl was able to direct the ferret to do his business, to do his bidding, and he's like, he was like, "Are you able to do that to people?" And he was like, "Not yet."
Ace of Spades. He does get it though, because he's like, theoretically he should have got it by now. And then he's like, the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades comes up behind him in that scene.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
But what I like is that he, Carl has developed it, but he's still not willing to admit it.
Yeah.
And then we see, Carl goes over and he puts his hand on the brain and he's like, "It's afraid," and they're all cheering. And are they cheering because they've captured this thing and it's afraid because it's been captured, or was it afraid the whole time?
Yeah. Well, to me, it looks like they know now that they can turn the war.
Yeah. Well, the war is pretty much over because they've captured the brain, so everything's gone back to being,
But that's only one of the asteroid planets. That's not the main planet.
Yeah, but they now know how the brain thinks. Yeah.
Find the brain and
then you'll defeat everything else.
Theoretically, it's the right way. You take out the general, the army will fall around it.
It's like trying to kill a zombie. Take out the brain, and the body will fall. Kind of thing, So.
Yeah. What I do like is that when they have the brain captured and they're doing the tests on it, we've seen people get stabbed and their guts ripped out and all this, but then it's censored. It just won't show you what they're doing to
getting probed. Yeah, it won't show that.
So funny. I do get why this film wasn't as big a hit as it could have been.
2 years later, I'd say it would have been a massive hit.
Don't even then. I don't. I think 10 years later is probably when it would have been a big hit. I think the fact that it came out with Independence Day, it came out with Men in Black and stuff.
2 years later, Men in Black 2 would have been coming out.
Yeah, exactly. I think just what was around it was just better, which made people look down on this. But I honestly think this is very good.
It's mad. This spanned more sequels than the likes of Men in Black and all did. There's about 17 of these.
I was going to mention it that Starship Troopers is one of my favorite films. Starship Troopers 2 is one of the worst films ever made in creation. It is. What's the worst?
Bucky Larson, Born to be a Star.
But have you watched it? Have you watched the sequels to Starship Troopers?
Yeah, I watched them all up until the cartoon one came out.
Yeah, the one where it's meant to be a bug dressed as a woman and all this kind of stuff like that. I love the cartoon. I used to watch it on Sky One every day. Really? I thought it was very good. I have to say, no, but again, kid, I liked it. Yeah,
I stopped really liking them after this one. I've watched them to say I've watched them, but
yeah,
that was
But-
it.
See, I think the thing is the concept that they did in this film of, a satire of,
yes,
a propaganda and stuff. You can't really make another one on the back of it. So everything they made on the back of it was just like
Yeah.
a little bit more comedy, a little bit more just, we'll just some action to get around it. Like this was very smart in the way it was done.
yes. I think the
This-
sequels are made for like Johnny Sci-Fi Channel. Watch that. That's pretty much that's what they're made for overall. I think.
Yeah.
Oh
I think
yeah, that's where they made it to as well. That's about the level they were at.
Yeah, it's mad to think that the biggest person to come out of this is Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
has I'm not saying that the role of Carl is unimportant, because it is very important, but it's very minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, right, so Denise Richards went on to do this, Wild Things, and a few others. Married Charlie Sheen, divorced Charlie Sheen, married Charlie Sheen. Who knows? Casper Van Dien done about 7,000 B-rated and C-rated movies, and was quite happy to do so, I'd say.
Yeah, happy enough
And then,
where he was.
Clancy Brown obviously went on to do a lot of things. Like he came off Shawshank when he done this.
Yeah,
Like you've got Dean Norris who went on to do Breaking Bad. Like it wasn't a bad cast. It was B-rated actors at the time.
yeah.
Well,
But like the only one that really went on from here that wouldn't have already been known was
to be a star, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Well,
Neil
no,
Patrick Harris, really.
Casper Van Dien went on. Like he became well known.
Yeah, but like not the star, like
Yeah.
Not the Neil Patrick Harris
Not-
there. No,
yeah.
no.
Let's be fair. Neil Patrick Harris didn't become a star from this, though.
No, not from this, but from here, like from like the cast that's in this film.
Oh,
He's
right,
the
yeah,
only
yeah,
one that went on to be that level sort of actor,
yeah. And even then, I wouldn't even say he's a great actor.
Oh no, he is. He's very top.
Well, then again, I haven't watched How I Met Your Mother, so
Yeah, he's brilliant in that. But like even after that, like he was in what, like
the Muppets.
he was in loads of stuff. Like he's a really big actor
Yeah.
for that.
But then again, I've only ever seen him playing kind of parts like this where he's small.
One thing that I like, it's nothing to do with this film, but just like Neil Patrick Harris, I never knew he was gay for ages.
Yes.
Because like nearly every character he plays is like a ladies' man and a womanizer, and he plays it so well that like when someone was like, he's gay, I was like, what? There's no way he can play that role that well if he's gay. Like, and people were like, no, he is. I was like, that is insane. Like, I never would have thought that. Just
if you look through his IMDb, he hasn't been in anything major. Like it's amazing how good an actor and how well known he is for being in very like minimal stuff. Like he's in like Fraggle Rock now, and he's in a series of like he was Count
Fraggle Rock.
He was in Count Olaf in a series of unfortunate events, and
I think How I Met Your Mother
was the main guy, though, wasn't he?
Huge thing, yeah.
I think How I Met Your Mother was the big thing that he ended up doing.
And he's going to be in the Matrix 4 as well.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, is he?
Yep.
I've watched them movies about 10 times and I still have no idea what's going on.
They're not that bad.
That's because you're in the Matrix, that's why.
Yeah, you're in it, Greg. That's why you don't understand.
All those ones and zeros floating around must be making sense now.
Your one that plays Carmen and the one that plays Dizzy were both in Friends as well.
Denise Richards was in everything.
Yeah, she was in Friends, and then your one who plays Dizzy was in Friends as well.
Was she?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. It was something that came up. I was like,
is she not the one that went out with Joey?
No, she goes out with Chandler, but she's an actress, I think.
Oh, she was the one that was a hairdresser as well. Was she going with Joey first and then?
No, that was
no, sorry.
That was the supermodel, wasn't it?
No, she's the one that's an actress. So she is going out with Chandler, but then she's doing a play with Joey where she has to kiss Joey.
Oh yeah, and she gets on the thing here.
Yeah, and Chandler just can't deal with the fact that she's an actress that has to kiss Joey. Like, I'm pretty sure that's who she was in it. I'm not 100% on that, but the two of them definitely were in it. But yeah, like as sequels go, that this probably should have just stopped where where
Wait,
it went.
It was.
This, in fact, did stop where
It should
stopped.
have.
Yeah.
It didn't, but it should have just stopped here. And I'm glad that it does retrospectively get the appreciation that I think it does deserve. Like 70%, I don't think it deserves any more than that. Like it's good,
No.
but it's like I wouldn't be if someone was like, yeah, it's okay. I think that's a fine description of it. Like it's not amazing. And I wouldn't be like, what do you mean you've never seen Starship Troopers? I wouldn't be like, I can't believe you've never seen that. But if someone was like, oh, I want something that I can just kind of sit down, turn my brain off and watch, this is perfect.
That's what I was gonna. I always say, if you want to kind of like kill an hour and a half and watch something fun,
What are you talking about? This is 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
is it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insanely long. Like I didn't
Wow.
realize how long it was either. It's so long.
I didn't even feel that go. Anyway,
Yeah.
then if it's one of them movies that basically, yeah, you click your brain off, you watch it, and I think that's what people do once they click their brain off. But also, it's a shooter, blah blah blah, and that's probably why, like you said before, about no one getting the subtlety until like years later when people sat down and went, right, I'm gonna watch this as a serious film and see how I get it.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, we're looking at it now. We're talking about Diz there. I'm just going through her IMDb, right? So, Denise Richards went on to do Wild Things, right? Diz went on to do Wild Things 2, right?
He would have just followed each other around.
Do you know actually what we overlooked with her? She's a very big part in Saw. She's the detective in Saw.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's in the first 4 Saws.
She did well for herself. Maybe she is the biggest. Maybe she's the biggest then.
She also comes back into one of the later Starship Troopers.
Oh, well, maybe she's not. That puts you back down, doesn't it?
Oh well, yeah. When you're in Piranha 3D as well, it kind of drops you a bit back down. Yeah.
I will not have a bad word said about that movie. That was a very, very good movie. They all could have won Oscars for that movie.
I don't know if they could, but we'll leave it at that for this week anyway. Thanks for coming on, Shane, and a great film choice. And
no problem. Thanks very much for having me on. Like, I love watching the show, so it's great to be on it for once. So,
I'm sure
we'll get you back on.
We'll get you on again for another film somewhere down the line as well. But
fantastic. Yeah.
For this week, that's it. Good luck.